authorized to contribute to the motion on the floor, but I want to dwell much on the page 9 and the paragraph 6.8, progress payment to contractors. Mr. Speaker, if you carefully read what is stated here, let me limit myself to the Pwalugu issue. Among the payments for the year under review is payment of $11,949,088 to MS Pawachena International Group Limited as final payment for the construction of the Pwalugu payment. So if you have a governor of Bank of Ghana who effect payment, final payment of a project of which no work has been done, the question is, what influenced this very decision, Mr. Speaker? What did they see? Which document did they present to them of which they effected this payment, Mr. Speaker? Something wrong has happened. And I don't see any recommendation to that effect. So the governor must be arrested. Chairman, if you presented your report, allow us to contribute. Because the governor is the head of the institution. He satisfied himself before approving all those payments. And we are here saying final payments. Meanwhile, nothing has been done. It's not initial payment. It's not mobilization. This is final payment. And if you go to site, nothing has been done, Mr. Speaker. And we are here giving haircuts. We are here denying people their investment. And we are saying there's no liquidity in the system. But we can do $11 million to a contractor for no work done, Mr. Speaker. And we are laughing over this matter. Some people must be arrested, Mr. Speaker, to serve as a deterrent to others. So, chairman of the committee, I remember there was a time it caused arrest of an official. This time, the governor, his deputies, and all officials who had a hand in this payment must be arrested. We are not just going to recover the money. They must be arrested, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Yes. Honourable Member for Ho West.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. I also rise to add my voice to the motion before the House and comment on page 9, item 6.7 and item 6.8. Mr. Speaker, before I comment on that, I would like to commend the committee, your Public Accounts Committee, for the work done, but also to state that in their conclusion, the recommendation there simply says that we should adopt this report. Mr. Speaker, yes, indeed, we will adopt the report, but what will be the sanctions that would needed to be meted to people who have caused other financial loss to the state or who are culpable of doing things that they are not supposed to do. And so, Mr. Speaker, I want to prevail on the committee not only to recommend that we should adopt this report, because adopting this report simply means that we've agreed to whatever that he has put on this paper. But quite frankly, Mr. Speaker, adopting this report that yes, indeed, there was some wrongdoing at the various ministries, departments, and agencies, it's neither here nor there. There must be a concrete decision by the committee either to ask for sanctions or either to ask for the retrieval of money that was paid to the various people. Mr. Speaker, having said that, the item 6.7, I read there that there was an invisible payment. I don't understand what is meant by there's a reduction of let me just read, Mr. Speaker, with your permission. says that there was remittance to the Ghana missions abroad for compensations and goods and services for the period under review. An amount of 94,534,928.11 USD was remitted to the missions in 2022, compared with 111,747,076.8 reported in 2021. That means that there was reduction. But, Mr. Speaker, my worry is that for that period, which represents about 8.2 of the total invisible payment. What is that invisible payment? Does it mean that there were payments that were not clearly indicated? Or we need to understand what the invisible payment. Otherwise, then it means that somebody has invisibly sent some money somewhere, that they are saying that there is a reduction in the invisible payment. Mr. Speaker, I want to also state that the item 6.8 is an indictment not only to the Bank of Ghana, but also the agencies that, Mr. Speaker, awarded a contract and also issue payment certificate. Mr. Speaker, you and I know in our profession that when it's a final payment, it's not per ultimate payment. Final certificate means that it is final. It means even retentions has been released. That is what it means. And that a total amount of over 117 million USD has been paid as a final payment. And we are here. We don't even have money to pay our staffs in Parliament. 170 million, Mr. Speaker. Somebody must be called to book. Somebody must account to the people of Ghana for this wanton use of money, which we cannot even find a single block on site. One, the consultant must be arrested. Two, the agencies that awarded this contract must be arrested. Three, the governor of Bank of Ghana must be arrested. These three people, the consultant, the agency that awarded the contract, and the governor of Bank of Ghana must be arrested immediately. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to ask that you give an instruction immediately that these three people must be arrested today, and be prosecuted before the law court. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes. Let him give the opportunity to the first deputy speaker. Yes, Mr. Speaker, you have the floor. Oh.
I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, listening to my colleagues, it makes me think that they still think that we're in election period. We are talking about law and order in this country. We are talking about personal responsibility when it comes to criminal law. We are talking about holding people who have erred or deliberately misled the country or caused financial loss to the country to be personally responsible. What is the basis for saying arrest A or arrest B? The report does not say that any investigation has been made to identify who personally did what. We should stop playing to the gallery. It will come back to haunt us. The language on the street is different. In this chamber, who gave Mr. Speaker the power to order the arrest of anybody? The worst he can do, or the best he can do, is to refer the matter to the police to investigate, and if anybody is culpable, that is not an arrest. To investigate, and if they find that Honorable Collins Dada has done something wrong, then the Honorable Collins Dada will be arrested. If they find that Honorable Bejira had threatened to beat somebody in the chamber, then Honorable Bejira will be arrested. But we should stop using the language on the street. What we should be seen to be doing is saying that the laws that we ourselves made, every law in the country is made by Parliament. And the law is very clear on what the Speaker can do, what an investigation agency like the Auditor General can do, and what next must be done. We members of Parliament should not be seen to be the ones making statements that undermines the laws we ourselves have made. If the report says that somebody has made payments, and you must find out who recommended what did he look at? So how do you order the arrest of this agency or that agency or that? You should be careful. You should be mindful. Very soon, the people will pick those same languages and attack you for crossing the street and say that you have caused an accident and you should be arrested. Mr. Speaker, the report is saying that somebody has been paid for work not done. Certainly, it must have been the recommendation of an engineer, a work supervisor, or somebody who prepared the certificates. And those are the people we must investigate and confirm who in the agency did what. How do you bring in the governor? So if I steal, Mr. Speaker must be arrested. Because the Speaker is the head of Parliament. So if I steal, must he be arrested? So you must investigate and confirm that. So hey, stop this your cadre things. You are a cadre. You are an engineer. You know who prepares what. You know who certifies for you to be paid. And if a certification is made by an engineer who is assigned to do that, should the person who pays be held responsible? Is that the law of this country? Is that a rule? What we must do is to ensure that if indeed what has been reported is what has happened, the person who did what is held accountable, and we should stop playing to the gallery. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Yes, let me go to Honorable John Jinapor. Honorable Bejula, this is not a battle between you.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, ranking for the Mines and Energy Committee, and as part of our oversight responsibility, I personally led a team to the Pwalugu site. Mr. Speaker, when we went there, the evidence on the ground showed that there were 2 trips of sand and 48 blocks on site. We counted it. Mr. Speaker, 48 blocks, 2 trips of sand. At that time, an amount of $11.9 million had been paid. And Mr. Speaker, when we raised the issues, the Ghana Irrigation Development Authority came and confirmed that indeed that amount had been paid, but that it was not final payment. Mr. Speaker, even more worrying is that when the facility or the agreement was being approved here, we were told that government was not going to pay any money. I recall, it's about $1 billion project. It's a multi-purpose dam, which is supposed to even help us deal with the annual flooding from the Bagri Dam. In this chamber, we were told that government was not going to pay any money. Power China has packed and left this country. They've received the money and they've left. So even if you want to hold a contractor responsible, they are no more in Ghana. But Mr. Speaker, let me agree with the First Deputy Speaker. First Deputy Speaker, this matter will be investigated. Let me confirm to you, it will be investigated. Fortunately, His Excellency President-elect, incoming President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, has already set up an oral committee chaired by the Venerable Okujeto Ablakwa. And so the way is paved. Mr. Speaker, as for the investigation, it will happen. And whoever is held or found culpable
would answer for this question. Our investigation shows that the amount is far in excess of the 11.9 million. A lot of money was paid earlier for preparatory works. This was just an additional payment. And so, Mr. Speaker, that is even why this House ought to take some of this matter serious. We raised the red flags here when this matter came. And the records will show that most of the issues the minority raised issues with, eventually they turn out to be scandalous. But Mr. Speaker, let me thank the Honorable Aveji and his team for bringing this up. They've done a very good job. They've made some recommendations. But I know that in the next administration, all those responsible for this unfortunate loss of money to the state will be held liable and they'll be held culpable. On that note, Mr. Speaker, let me thank you for the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yes. Honorable Comfortdo.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, to add my voice to the report of the Public Accounts Committee. Mr. Speaker, this is heartbreaking. In fact, either report or committee, these people, we should line them up for Ghanaians to see them and know them and shame them. Because why are we doing this to ourselves? Why? Does it mean they are living in a different Ghana and we are living in another Ghana?
Honorable member.
Mr. Speaker, this is heartbreaking.
Just be guided with
This is
what the first
heartbreaking.
deputy speaker
How can we
said.
pay $11 million for work no down? Please, Mr. Speaker, we are doing too harm to ourselves as Ghanaians.
Just be guided.
What we should do. I now understand how the Ghanaians voted this time. This time it shouldn't be a stronghold. It should be your performance. It shouldn't be anybody's stronghold. It should be your performance. If you are not performing well, and the whole Ghana will turn green, they should turn green. Mr. Speaker, in fact, we are not happy to hear this. And Ghanaians should not grab hand for this. Everybody should be everybody should stand up for this and make sure we prosecute them. How can we pay $11 million for work no down and just go to the site and see 45 blocks and one trip of sand? Mr. Speaker, it's not the best. We are not happy. We are not happy at all.
Yes, I'll give you the last.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I actually rise to support the work of the Public Account Committee in the sense that there are some positives that are being disregarded. I think overall, the practices in the country are changing because of the oversight responsibility of the committee. And I can almost say that in terms of workers who take leave without appropriate documentation, some of these cultures are changing. And one key thing that members ought to know is that the quantums that are stated over the years are reducing, and then the infractions are also reducing. So I would commend the committee for its work. It's been very educative for the general public, and we must continue to hold government workers entirely more accountable. And let me also add that it is making people more aware that it is not necessarily the politicians that mismanage the funds of this country, and that all the quantums that are lost on people who may have died and still got paid, people who may have vacated this country and left the shores and still got paid and failed to come back. So I think that I'll use this opportunity, and I'm talking not necessarily for the MPP MPs, I'm talking necessarily for all the MPs here, including Doyo and all the others, that we need to use the opportunity to let people know that many of us were not signatures to this quantum that are lost to the country. Many of us sitting here, in fact, almost 90% of us here were not signatory to the monies that appear to have been lost to the nation. On that note, Mr. Speaker, Merry Christmas in advance. Thank you.
Thank you very much, honorable members. At the conclusion of the debate of motion 19 and 20 in today's order paper, the question is, all those in favor that motion 19 and 20 be adopted, say aye. All those against, say no. Honorable members, the ayes have it. The motion listed 19 and 20 are hereby adopted. Yes. Honorable Reggie.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Which motion?
Mr. Speaker, we are taking motion number 22.
22.
So I rise to move that this Honorable House adopt the report of the Public Accounts Committee on the report of the Auditor General on the public accounts of Ghana for technical universities for the year ended 31st December 2022. Mr. Speaker, I present your committee's report. I'll read just a portion, but I answer to capture the entire report as having been read. Mr. Speaker, the findings of the Auditor General in his reports relate to outstanding debtors to loan recoveries, cash irregularities, payroll irregularities, procurement, tax, and contract irregularities. The overall impact of the irregularities amounted to 20.9 million Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, compare this amount with 2021, it's a reduction of about 39.9%. So in 2021, the total irregularity amounted to 34.8 million, but this has dropped to 20.9 million in 2022. So, Speaker, the committee have looked at the implementation status of the recommendations of the Auditor General. So out of a total of $20.9 million recovery, 20.9 million Ghana cedis, not dollars, sorry. 13 million Ghana cedis have been resolved, leaving amount of 7.8 million Ghana cedis unresolved. So the resolved percentage amount to 62.5%. So, Speaker, the details of our work have been captured in the entire report, where some...
Honourable Member, hold on. It appears I don't have that report. Do members have that report?
Mr. Speaker, members should have the report, because the reports are at the back here and here, which they're sharing.
Mr. Speaker, we don't have the report. What we have is pre-university educational institutions, and that is not motion number 22.
We have that one also, but
yes, but what we have here, we don't have.
What he's doing now is technical
universities. We don't have it. Members don't have it unless somebody else has it.
But
Mr. Speaker,
but Chairman,
I don't have it. I don't have it as a ranking member.
I don't even have it.
Mr. Speaker, I think that those people who are responsible for the distribution have failed to serve you. So if we can make copies available, or Mr. Speaker, let me finish presenting and I'll pass my copy to you.
Well, but okay, Honourable, you just go on.
Very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm just reading the conclusion of the reports. Conclusion. The committee recommends that management of the technical universities cited by the Auditor General should implement all the recommendations of the committees in the committee's reports and submit status reports to the committee through the Auditor General within 6 months after the adoption of this report. The committee was of the considered view that the observations and recommendations of the Auditor General fairly represented the financial transactions that took place in the technical universities in the 2022 financial year. The committee therefore recommends to the House to adopt its report and on the report of the Auditor General on the public accounts of Ghana for technical universities for the year ended 31st December 2022 in accordance with Order 215 of the Standing Orders of the House. Mr. Speaker, respectfully submitted.
Very well. Honorable Yakum Fantakwa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, even though I don't have a copy of the report, I'm privy to it. So I rise to second the motion of the accounts of the Auditor General on the public accounts of Ghana Technical University for the year ended 31st December 2022. I so move. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Honorable members, the motion has been moved and has been seconded. It is before the House for consideration. Yes. Honorable member for Elmina, Commander.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. But it's Commander Edina Iguafu Abrem. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The problem is those people who have committed these irregularities sometimes are protected by the same politicians who are now lamenting. A minister comes with an agency, and the minister wants to protect that appointee. Some of them are political appointees, some may not be. But we, the politicians, we need to stop protecting these people when they come to Public Accounts Committee. I would advise anybody who becomes a minister, when these technical people come, stay on the side and let them answer the questions. Don't try to protect anybody. Then we lament on it. Now my appeal to the Attorney General. There are so many recommendations sent to the Attorney General for prosecution. He hasn't done it. I don't know what the Attorney General is waiting for. Now, if we don't prosecute these people, when are they going to stop? This blame game has to stop. Politicians, stop protecting those who have committed these crimes. Look, what goes around comes around. Paying for stuff for no work done. Mr. Speaker, we need to look at ourselves in the mirror. There's nobody to blame but ourselves. Let's hold these people accountable. Let's hold them accountable. And rather stop calling ourselves names. If you don't do your work well as a minister, don't come and protect these people. As for the Attorney General, the least said about him, the better. But I hope and pray that with this new administration coming, we'll do a better job prosecuting those people who have committed these crimes. I think we need to serve notice to those people who are committing all these crimes. There's a new sheriff in town. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, let me give the opportunity to Honorable Techi Mansonkunta.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. It is very important for members of this House to consider the professionality of auditing and the aspect of investigation. If you look at the reports, you will see at some session, for example, the tertiary report, you have the purpose of audit. With your permit, Mr. Speaker, I may read it so that it should guide that as to how we comment on some of these issues. The audit was undertaken in accordance with Article 187 of the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, which mandates the Auditor General to audit the accounts of all public offices and report to Parliament. The purpose of the audit was to enable the auditor to express an opinion on the level of compliance of the operations and activities of the technical university as expressed in their financial statement for the year ended, so forth. Mr. Speaker, auditing is about expressing opinion by looking at internal controls of the institution, by looking at the regulation governing the body, by looking at the laws and other things that ensure that the institution is operating within law and within the limits of its controls. Any irregularity means that some laws or regulations were not complied with. It may not involve necessarily the movement of funds. It may be just because some omissions were made in terms of the law. Therefore, the report will capture it and the auditor may express his opinion. On that basis, you may be very careful to conclude that there is a fraud or there is a criminal action. When there is that opinion expressed, it should be the Auditor General who may state that for this gross misconduct, it may call for investigation. So auditing is separate from investigation. When the auditor has established that in prima facie case, there is a connotation of fraud, then it calls for investigation. It is upon investigation that will establish either fraud has been committed or crime has been committed. So on this basis, the Auditor General report that we are looking at should not construe that crime or fraud has been committed, but rather expression of opinion. If the House believes that there is anything like fraud or criminal act committed somewhere, we should investigate the matter to establish that one. So I may want to express my opinion to the House and the public that the work of the Auditor General and its recommendation are expression of opinion. It doesn't conclude on criminality or fraud unless it's called for that act of investigation to establish the fraud and the criminal act so that we can pursue from there. On that, Mr. Speaker, thank you. Let us go about this and ensure that professionalism is being upheld in this House and elsewhere. Thank you very much.
Honorable members, why is it that? No, Honorable Virginio, I haven't called.
Mr. Speaker, I just want to just permit me a minute. I think that when we make such comments, we are in a way encouraging the public and civil servants to continue to misbehave. In fact, if you read the report, we have realized or we captured in the report that the issues that have been resolved, if it is resolved at the committee level, that ends the matter. There are unresolved portions which must be dealt with. So, as we said, nobody is taking the Auditor General report as a final conclusion. It comes to Parliament, the committee calls the officers involved, then find out from them action they have taken. If the issue is resolved, we end it there. If the issue is not resolved, we bring it here with the recommendation. That is what we are doing here. So the point he is raising cannot be accommodated at this time because the resolved one, we are not talking about that one. The unresolved one are the ones that are outstanding. And in fact, we have made several recommendations for the Attorney General to prosecute the people, and that if the people go and clear themselves at the court, that ends it. So nobody is taking cane to just go and lash anybody based on the report of the Auditor General. There are processes that are being followed. So my colleague, I don't think that I think that what he said is not the proper thing to do at this time. Thank you.
Honorable, I'll come to you. I just listened to Honorable Techi I have to go here. He was just giving. So I've accused the chairman. He just wanted to clear it. So let me give. Yes, Honorable Boriban Boy.
Mr. Speaker, I'm very grateful for this opportunity to contribute to this report. But before I continue, let me add my voice to the correction that has been made by the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee. I think that my colleague on the other side didn't get things right. The mandate of the Public Accounts Committee is clearly stated. Ours is to look at the reports and make appropriate recommendations in the reports to be submitted to this House for us to debate and then agree on the way forward. I think what I want to say is that we have many reports that have made recommendations, and in some cases we expect that some prosecution will be done. And as I speak to you, nothing is being done about that. And that for me is the concern that this House should find a way of ensuring that recommendations that we make here don't just go to rest on the shelves, but rather we are able to pull them through so that people who are found wanting will be prosecuted to ensure that the irregularities that we see on annual basis are reduced. Mr. Speaker, making reference to the particular report that we are discussing, with specific reference to Kofi Odua Technical University, it is not only the university that is found fault for this particular problem. Many universities have lands, and these lands are not registered. And so you have a situation where individuals encroach on these lands, and then the university land is taken over by individuals. Government wants to expand the university, and there's no land for them to build infrastructure on. And so I want to suggest that universities and other government institutions that have land, it should be a policy to ensure that all these lands are registered and that they have land titles. If not, what is going on is scary. It's not only limited to only this university, but many other government institutions that do not have certificate to cover their lands, those lands are being encroached upon. And I think that is one of the issues that comes up regularly in our discussion. The other issue that I want to talk about is the fact that some institutions fail to register their vehicles. A very common exercise where you're supposed to register your vehicles in accordance with government policy, and you have some institutions, in my own opinion, deliberately ignoring this policy in order that they are able to use the vehicles for their private activities. We all know that government vehicles are registered with some specific colors, green colors, numbers. Now, if you don't register it with the numbers and you take it for funerals and other things at weekends, how are we going to determine that this vehicle is a government vehicle? And so policymakers and governments, we should ensure that all government vehicles are registered appropriately. If not, we will continue to see an abuse of the use of government assets. Now, another very important issue that came up is abandoned projects. This cuts across. Get Fund, when we met with them, we were told that those projects, some even dated 2017. And that for me was not an excuse. If you have a project that you inherited from a previous government, the onus is on you to ensure that that project is completed before you continue with another project. But you leave those ones, and then you go ahead to come up with new projects. Even those ones, you are not able to complete them. And once you delay it, the repercussion is that there will be an added cost. And it becomes difficult for government to now get this added cost to be able to complete the project. The usage of the project becomes a problem and all of that. And so the good news is that the president-elect in his manifesto has promised that abandoned projects will be completed. And that for me is something that we should applaud him for. and ensure that these promises that he has made, we all collaborate and help him to do it. There shouldn't be a situation where we are asking for details or information on projects that have been abandoned and it will be difficult to get those information. I think that those are issues that we should look at, and the president-elect is in the mood to ensure that projects that are abandoned are completed. And if he's to do that, I know Ghanaians will be happy with him. They know his worth and they know that he's capable of walking his talk. On this note, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Yes. Honorable Member for Dome-Kwabenya.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I wish to comment on the statement and on the report that is ably laid by the chairman relating to technical universities. Mr. Speaker, respectfully, I want to refer you to page 6 of the report. Item II, and it reads assets without ownership of documents. And I want to take that together with another item that was identified as an irregularity and by the Auditor General that was considered by the Public Accounts Committee, which is on page 22 of the report. Page 22 of the report, and the heading is University Lands with no title certificates. Mr. Speaker, I want to state that this is a very serious issue that we ought to look at as a country. If we need to establish or create legal departments in these universities to take care of that, it is very important. You would be amazed that many of our schools at all levels are sited on properties or lands that has no proper documentation. And I must state on authority again and state on record that this keeps reoccurring in the Auditor General's report as an irregularity, dating from years back, since at least I entered Parliament in 2013. So what are we doing? In these universities, in these schools, are we leaving the registration of these documents, registration of these lands to the school heads, or we'll just sit on concern? A lot of our schools are on lands that have been encroached upon. And they cannot take legal action, mainly because they don't even have title to the land, for starters, to even have locus in any court to challenge whoever is encroaching on these lands. And these are lands for public purpose, lands for schools, for universities, for our young ones and our little ones that are coming up. And I think that if you look on page 8, the value that is, no, on page 22, Mr. Speaker, the value that is put on these lands is huge. The value, and we know that property appreciates over the years. And so the more acreage you have, the more land size you have, every year you have an accrual on it. So if we don't have title, we don't take the pain to register these lands, when there's need for expansion, then the issue rises again. We need land, we need land. But we go to our traditional leaders, our chiefs and all that, and actually beg for these lands. And most of the times they give it out willingly. So I think that as a country, moving forward, the civil servants that are working in these institutions, the public servants that are working in these institutions, if there's a need to engage more lawyers to carry out that duty for them, it will be very useful to us as a country moving forward. So, Mr. Speaker, these are the two observations that I wanted to comment on this report, which has to do with protecting what is due us, so that we can progress in terms of developmental projects in the area of education. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Well. The last one, let me give it to Honorable Konfudoyo.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I'm on my feet to react to Honorable Techi Mansum Kwanta MP.
But that one has already been reacted to.
Mr. Speaker, nobody should speak big English.
But Honorable Doyo,
when it comes to corruption.
Honorable Doyo, I think what he said was a general understanding of audit.
So what I'm saying is about $11 million paid to a work not done. Now, nobody should speak big English to do a cover-up. We don't want to hear that. Ghanaians should know $11 million have been paid, 11 million plus have been paid to a contractor. And for a work not done. Not done.
Honorable Comfort, hold on.
So this
Honorable Comfort Doyo
that has been made,
Honorable
there should be
Comfort
no
Doyo.
big English to do a cover-up. So they should allow the process to work. We should take them on. That's all.
Mr. Speaker, I think we should discourage leaders from taking the House back. A decision has been taken on that matter already. What is being discussed now has nothing to do with that issue. It's either an opportunity to be heard or deliberately pushing the House back. Mr. Speaker, I urge you to rule him out of order and have all those comments taken off the record. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Doyo, with respect to $11.9 million, that report has already been adopted. With respect to Honorable Techi's comment, I think it was a general comment he made that the chairman of the committee has addressed it. So please, let's understand ourselves and move on with that. So,
I'm not making a comment about this, Mr. Speaker. I'm just timing how long we took to do this. Mr. Speaker, you initially said depending on the interest you will allow.
So this one I had the interest, so yes, that's why I allow some.
If they become the standard, Mr. Speaker, we haven't even done half of this. We may be here beyond 6 o'clock.
Very well. Very well. So, honorable members, at the conclusion of the debate of motion listed 22 in today's order paper, the question is all those in favor of the motion being adopted, say aye. Are we hungry or angry? All those in favor of the motion say aye. All those against say no. Honorable members, the ayes have it. The motion listed 22 in today's order paper is hereby adopted. Yes, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm taking motion number 23. Mr. Speaker, I rise that this Honorable House adopt the report of the Public Accounts Committee on the report of the Auditor General on the management and utilization of the District Assembly's Common Fund and other statutory funds for the year ended 31st December 2022. Mr. Speaker, I present your committee's reports. Mr. Speaker, the total infraction or irregularities reported by the Auditor General amounted to 53.5 million Ghana cedis. At the time of the committee's meeting, 22.5 million Ghana cedis has been resolved, leaving an outstanding amount of 31 million Ghana cedis unresolved. The committee made a number of observations and recommendations. The first one is that overutilization of the common fund on recurrent expenditure. Mr. Speaker, the committee noted that most of the entities or the assemblies, especially this report, 21 of them, exceeded their threshold for administrative expenditure and misapplied a total amount of 7.09 million Ghana cedis of the DACF fund on payments of recurrent expenditure, contrary to Part 1 of the 2019 guideline for the utilization of the DACF. Mr. Speaker, at the time of the public sitting, it was revealed that a total amount of 3 million had been refunded by 13 assemblies, leaving a balance of 4 million in the name of 15 assemblies. And these have been captured in the report. The committee noted that the overutilization of the DACF is as a result of the failure of the assemblies to generate sufficient revenue to meet their recurrent expenditure. Most of the assemblies blamed the inability to generate sufficient revenue to refund the previous overutilization on the government directive to suspend the collection of property rates over the period under consideration. The committee noted that the directive has adversely affected revenue mobilization in the assembly. Mr. Speaker, the committee further noted that government has since reversed the directive. In view of the committee, the committee recommends that total amount of 81 million being overutilized DACF should be refunded by the 15 assemblies involved. In fact, 8.1 million. Mr. Speaker, recommendation. To forestall the recurrence of this, the committee recommends that the Ministry of Finance should put a quota caveat on the GiveMe's platform to prevent the excess spending of the common fund on recurrent expenditure. Mr. Speaker, the next one is uncompleted projects. Mr. Speaker, a number of projects are outstanding which have not been completed, yet the assemblies keep on awarding new projects. A number of them have also been completed but are not being put to use. Conclusion. The committee's deliberations reveal weaknesses in the internal control system and blatant disregard to Public Financial Management Acts, Public Financial Management Regulation, as well as procurement laws, among others. The committee therefore recommends to all the MMDAs to uphold and act in accordance with the Public Financial Management Regulations, as well as the procurement law of the Republic of Ghana. The committee was of the considered view that the observations and recommendations of the Auditor General fairly represent the financial transactions that took place in the Metropolitan, Municipal, and District Assemblies in the year 2022, and therefore recommend that the House adopt the reports of the committee on the report of the Auditor General on the management and utilization of the District Assembly Common Fund for the year ended 31st December 2022, in accordance with Order 2151 of the Standing Orders of the House. Mr. Speaker, respectfully submitted.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Yes, Honorable Yekum.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion. this House adopt the report of the Auditor General on the accounts of public accounts on the utilization of this Assembly Common Fund and other statutory funds for the year ended December 2022. Mr. Speaker, I'll make a few comments on the report. Mr. Speaker, one area of concern is a situation where assemblies complete most of their projects, but for petty things like electricity connection, water, and sometimes even security, they are not able to enter and utilize these projects. The Speaker, 33 assemblies had completed their projects for a total amount of 7.1 million at the time of the Auditor General visited them. And these projects have not been connected to electricity, water, and other petty things. We recommend that assemblies budget properly in their projects so that these matters don't delay the use of completed projects to the detriment of the community that need them. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Honorable members, the motion listed 23 has been moved and seconded. It is before the House for consideration. It appears we are all in agreement of the motion. I'll go ahead and put the question. And the question is, all those in favor that motion listed 23 be adopted, say aye. All those against say no. Honorable members, the ayes have it. Motion listed 23 is hereby adopted. Honorable Chairman, can I take your last report? Because I was made,
Yes, Mr. Speaker,
I was made to understand that you were going to take 4.
Yeah, this is the last one for the day.
Very well. So let's hear you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is motion number 24. So, Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that this Honorable House adopt the report of the Auditor General, report of the Public Accounts Committee on the report of the Auditor General on the accounts of the district assemblies for IGF for the year ended 31st December 2022. So, Speaker, this is the IGF report of the assembly. So, Speaker, the Auditor General's report on the financial year ended 31st December 2022, which covered 261 MMDAs, found that out of a total of 261 assemblies, including the newly added Guan district, 2 assemblies delayed in the submission of their financial statement by the statutory deadline of 28 February 2023. These defaulting assemblies are Shai Osudoku in the Greater Accra region and Central Tong in the Volta region. The Auditor General was guided by the International Standard of Auditing, the International Standard of Supreme Audit Institution, and Section 13 of the Audit Service Act to make his recommendations. Auditor General observed various deficiencies and laxities in the undertaking and admission of the assemblies. The report further exposed prevalent non-compliance with the relevant frameworks, laws, regulations, as well as lapses in respect of management and monitoring processes. Mr. Speaker, the total value of irregularities amounted to 19.9 million Ghana cedis. And now this represented an increase of 49.2% of the 2021 figure of 13.3 million. Now, the irregularities covered cash irregularities, payroll, assets and stocks management, statutory tax and deductions irregularities, and those are the areas covered by the irregularities. The status of implementation of the Auditor General report and recommendations are captured in the reports. So I'll go to the conclusion. Mr. Speaker, the committee, having carefully reviewed the report of the Auditor General and held public hearings with the management of the various assemblies, noted laxity and weak internal control systems in administration of the assemblies. These lapses have resulted in the recurrent breaches of the financial management rules and regulations. The committee hereby recommends that to the House to adopt its report. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Yes, Honorable Yekum.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to second motion numbered 24 on today's order paper. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Honorable members, the motion has been seconded. The document is now before the House for consideration. Yes, Honorable Member for Ho West.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me also add my voice to the motion and contribute accordingly. Mr. Speaker, your committee's report, page 3, 2 of our district assemblies, that's the Shire Osudoku in the Greater Accra region and Central Tongue, have been cited as defaulting assemblies who were given a deadline, but they have defaulted. And as at the time that I'm sure the committee met, they have still not redeemed their name. Mr. Speaker, we must place this on record that district assemblies that have defaulted in redeeming their name or whatever that has been asked to do and they've not done it, we should name and shame them, more especially the heads of those institutions, the DCs and the Director of Finance and DCDs. They should be named and shamed. Not only named and shamed, but they should also face the laws of the land. Since we have financial irregularities in those institutions and they have refused to redeem their name, they have to face the full rigors of the law. Mr. Speaker, having said that, I've also noticed that on page 11, item 9.4, failure to serve bond 10 after steady leave. Mr. Speaker, an amount of 680,142 cedis has been identified as people who took facilities, who were given steady leaves, but they refused to return and pay those amounts. And a recommendation from this, from the Auditor General to the head of civil service was that they should recover the total salary and scholarship grant from them. Mr. Speaker, I don't think that has been done. And the names of the people has been also mentioned on page 11 and page 12. Mr. Speaker, this has been ongoing over the years. Students or workers take facilities, they apply for study leave, they are given study leave, and as soon as they get an opportunity to go through schools and then finish, they decide to look for a greener pasture. They decide to go to other institutions for a better condition. and then forgetting that the taxpayers' money was used in taking care of them. Mr. Speaker, we should not only mention their names by citing them, but they should be sent for prosecution. I still want to maintain the fact that if you go against the law must come after you. If you are supposed to pay back or at least serve a bond and you've not done that, we must use the law to get to them. Mr. Speaker, having said that, I support that this report be adopted. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, Honorable Member for Futu and Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I humbly seek your leave to interrupt the proceedings and proceed again with your leave under Order 93 of the rules of this House to make all an important points for our consideration as a House. Mr. Speaker, it has come to my attention through a press statement signed by an MP-elect and a known political figure, Honorable Mr. Felix Kwachio Fosu, and this is what he says: preparatory team towards President-elect's anti-corruption drive. And this statement lists the following members, one of whom is a member of Parliament: Honorable Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa as chairman, Honorable Daniel Domelovo, former Auditor General, COP retired Nathaniel Kofi Boade, Mr. Martin Kpebu, private legal practitioner, Mr. Raymond Archer, investigative journalist. And the mandate given, as per what the Mr. Kwachio Fosu is saying, is that these individuals are supposed to gather information on supposed suspected acts of corruption. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to this, there is lawlessness taking place in our country. People are entering homes and harassing people. Mr. Speaker, what happened on the 7th of December was not a coup d'etat. It wasn't a revolution.
Honorable Leader.
Mr. Speaker, let me finish. I've sought your leave. Mr. Speaker, I've sought your leave. It was an election that you have won. The lawlessness must cease. No,
Leader,
let me finish.
I'm going to give you the opportunity.
Very well.
But let me finish with the motion. There's a motion.
Very well.
There's
This
a
is a
motion.
country of law. We will not allow and entertain this.
Leader, there is a motion on the floor. Let me finish with the motion.
Very well, Mr. Speaker.
Then you can come
Very
by order
well.
93, please.
Very well. I agree. No problem.
I thought we were going to contribute to the motion.
No.
That
I
is
said
why.
I'm seeking your leave.
Then you let's finish. Leader, kindly allow me to finish with the motion. Then I'll give you the opportunity.
Mr. Speaker, agree. We will hold your feet to the fire. We will not allow lawlessness.
Honorable Leader.
That is so. It's okay.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members.
Mr. Speaker, the only lawlessness in this House currently is when the leader of the House, who was not in the chamber most of the day, enters the chamber, grab the mic, and starts speaking about something which is not on the floor. In fact, you were dealing with a motion. The only lawlessness as witness right now is you, the leader, jumping to the House when you were not here for the rest of the day to actually spring an irrelevant issue here. Mr. Speaker, I direct you to stop this lawlessness, but the leader opposite. This lawlessness must be tolerated.
Honorable Leader, I think I admitted him because I thought he was going to contribute into the motion. But now that we realize he was doing something else, we have solved. So please, the motion is before us. We will continue with the motion. Honorable members, motion 24. Honorable, are you going to contribute to the motion?
Mr. Speaker, he said certain things and he must be
Honorable Mahama, we will probably
withdraw.
come to that.
No, he must be made to withdraw, Mr. Speaker, because what he has said has become part of the records of this House. Mr. Speaker, these are very serious matters. Please, Mr. Speaker, let him withdraw what he has said. Since we all agree that what he said
Leader,
had nothing to do with
leader,
the
I'll
matter
give you the
that was before
opportunity.
you.
So
Please
table
withdraw.
records.
Withdraw.
Records.
No, Mr. Speaker.
I'll give you the opportunity.
Mr. Speaker,
Leader.
he has to withdraw what he has said. Mr. Speaker, you can strike out from the record what he has said.
Leader,
you don't need.
I'll give you the opportunity to tell us whatever you feel.
Mr. Speaker,
Leader,
he has to withdraw.
Leader, allow me.
He has to withdraw.
Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I'm saying that he has to withdraw.
Leader, withdrawing and giving you the opportunity to tell us same opinion is so please table.
Mr. Speaker, when I rose, I said, I am seeking your leave to interrupt proceedings, to come under Order 93. The leave was granted. I have made my point. You have said that, notwithstanding, I should wait when it is done. Mr. Speaker, so that is the matter.
Well. So, Honorable Ayaga, I think I granted the leave. So we will come back to it. For now, let's continue with the motion. And when we are finished with the motion, probably we can deal with whatever he said. Please. That is my directive. So let's continue with the motion. Yes. Honorable members. Yes, honorable member for K2 South.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm going to ask your education on what I'm going to say, and then you may please give me a response. It is to ask, as a member of the committee, the Public Accounts Committee, I see that at the sitting of the committee, the Auditor General's representatives sit with us, and then individuals who have been cited are called to respond to issues. When that is done, and the committee has presented its report as has been done today, I want to know whether the Clerk of Parliament is not supposed to follow up on the recommendations to the institutions that supervises this. And if it is so, has it ever been done, and what were the responses? Because really, from all that has gone on today, on the motion that have been tabled, the reference has been made that this is a recurring thing. And so if it's recurring and we're not seeing any progress and redress and or repercussions to bad behavior and the seeming corruption that has been captured in their reports, why would we expect that there will be a different dance to the same music that is being played, Mr. Speaker? I need your guidance and your education on this. Thank you.
Very well. Honorable Jifa, I think whatever is transpiring here is a judicial notice to the Attorney General's Department. I think whatever we are recommending here, they should pick it up and look at the criminal content in it and take it up. I think as to why the clerk is officially not writing to the Attorney General to pick the prosecutory so, like I'm saying, whatever is done here is a judicial notice, and I believe the clerk always also forward their recommendations to the Attorney General's Department. So it is up to the Attorney General's Department to pick it up and do what is necessary for the country. I don't know whether I've answered you, but I think that is it.
I can only appreciate the comments that you have made on it, but I'm sure that it gives room for us to take a good look at what the committee is supposed to do and the effects thereof. But I thank you very much for your comment, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. So, honorable members, at the conclusion of the debate on motion listed 24, the question is, all those in favor that the motion is adopted, say aye. All those against, say no. Honorable members, the ayes have it. The motion is hereby adopted. Yes, leadership.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the adjournment of the House.
You move
for the adjournment of the House.
Yes. Honorable members, there is a motion to adjourn the House. Minority leadership.
Motion for adjournment. Thank you.
Well, well. So, honorable members, before we finally adjourn, I think tomorrow, per the agreement of leadership, tomorrow the House
Madam Speaker, let me say this for the record. We were assured that the minister responsible for the EPA bill was coming in with 2 amendments, so we could take that today. I thought it was important that before you adjourn the House, we know exactly what happened to that information before we leave.
Yes, leader.
Mr. Speaker, I'm reliably informed that some minority members had raised some serious matters, and as a result, the minister would want to do some further consultation. 2, the minister, I'm told, that the minority members, I don't mean minority MPs, the members of the transitional team on the NDC side want to have an opportunity to do some interrogation of the bill. So she is actually in consultation with them. If as it were, the NDC side of the transition team have no objection to this bill, Mr. Speaker, I would want to hear from the minister, because she is the sponsor of the bill. So I am building to her, because this is the information she gave me, that the new government wants to understand the import of the bill. If the minority leader, the deputy minority leader, has information that his side is okay with the bill, same can be communicated to me so that we would take action on it. Thank you, sir.
Madam Speaker, it's something that we have to check. As we speak right now, we do not have that information from the transition team, but we'll check. But while I have the floor, let me say that the Honorable MP for Ketu South had brought a statement on the brutalities that occurred in the border constituency, and the minister responsible for Interior, I think Interior was supposed to come with a response. I think the deadline for that response has not come. I think I'm reminding the leader to try to reach out to the minister so we can get that done tomorrow.
Well, well.
Mr. Speaker, the application to me through you has been well received, and especially when the language and tone is that of statesmanship. Mr. Speaker, when people are aspiring to be ministers, their postures change. When people begin to aspire to become ministers, the way they talk, their tone, their language, because they know they are going to face vetting. So now they say this and that. Mr. Speaker, we know, because they know they have some ministerial appointment pending, but you are going to be over 170. Only about 20 of you are going to make it to the ministerial list. The rest of you will be redundant. You wonder what you get for your constituents. How you would ensure development. Apathy is staring at your faces. Apathy is staring at your
Honorable Leader.
Mr. Speaker, you can shout. You come to the vetting. I will meet you there. You shout. Start fighting me.
Honorable Leader.
You come for vetting. If you won't be calm, start fighting me. Mr. Speaker, you haven't called a deputy minority leader. I'm on the floor. The rule requires that he must catch your eye. And the aspiring majority leader must take it easy. The way he is advertising himself. I know Honorable MP for Akati South is also aspiring to be a minority leader. And I know Rosin Defiamepo is also aspiring. I know Mutaka is aspiring. Now the man is overtaking you. Every now and then he wants to be a de facto leader. You have your leaders, then you do intervention from behind. Why? You sit down, your leaders are spoken. Mr. Speaker, there's a motion, it's been seconded, just adjourn and let's have peace.
Honorable members, I have information for you. So just resume your seat before I adjourn the House. The information is that tomorrow, God's willing, we will be sitting in our chamber. Tomorrow we'll be sitting in our chamber at 10 o'clock in the forenoon. So the House is accordingly adjourned to tomorrow, 10 o'clock in the forenoon.
I wanted to say that the race for minority leadership is not over. It's not over yet. So stop pretending as if it's automatic. You are still in a tight competition.
Joining me is Ghana's President-elect John Dramani Mahama. Hello, sir. Thanks for making the time. Congratulations on the historic, emphatic victory. Ghanaians have given you a second chance to become president. How does that make you feel?
Oh, well, it just makes me feel the weight of responsibility and looking at
So when you go there, you just speak to him. Oh, you want to invest because you need the good more. Yeah.
Safely, okay? Okay, so go there.
As potential investors, we are welcome to the Galamsey side.
It's good inside. This one is good. This is good. Yeah, that is how the business is.
This is the boss, Ras T. He and his men are from the Volta region, where Ghana's greatest river passes through and meets the ocean. Voltarians dominate the Galamsey business in rivers because in Ghana, no one else can swim like them.
So, you see, this man, the man that is in the river, because the machine just stopped, so you have to enter the water and check what is happening there. So that after removing it, we start back the engine and start to walk. It's really